got a larger scheduling update for MagicCons and Pro Tours for 2025, and there's some interesting things about promos and the lack of Pioneer and all that stuff coming in this announcement, and some other ideas around maybe a lack of European tournaments as well and Japanese tournaments when everything is US centralized. So I wanted to kind of break it down all here today. It's going to be a quick video, especially just because there isn't a terrible amount of news, but there is a great video associated with it, so I'm going to link it down below. Highly recommend you check that out. But for 2025, MagicCons return for a year filled with exciting activities, fan favorite content, special guests, and high-level competitive play. We have 3 MagicCons planned for 2025. Each features an associated Pro Tour. So they have MagicCon Chicago, Las Vegas, and Atlanta. I will say, you know, they're relatively spread out. So you got February, just kind of the late winter. It's not really spring, but September, kind of the fall, early summer as well in June. The problem is all 3 of these locations are in the US. I think you've heard me harp on this channel about the lack of European tournaments, and I mean there is, it's just a lot rarer considering the European fan base, especially with the popularity of like card market Magic and everything, and the lack of Japanese tournaments. I mean, forget the rest of the world. I mean, South America's always been getting just kind of screwed over in that sense. And look, as someone who's Canadian, just north of the border, is it really that much of a logistical problem to hold, I don't know, MC Toronto, MC Vancouver or something? Like, there has to be a way to do them here. We can't just constantly keep having them in the US. Also, the travel culture in the US is like vastly different than anywhere else. Like I've talked to friends who talk about, oh, I'm just taking a drive down for a couple of hours south just to pick something up. Like people in the US, the culture and everything, they're used to traveling hours and hours just to do like Magic tournaments and stuff. Like that doesn't make sense for like the vast majority of people. Like I can't, like, yo, who's driving multiple hours to do a modern tournament on a Saturday morning at 9 and like paying for the hotels and stuff? Anyway, it's crazy. The lack of European, Japanese, or heck, even Canadian tournaments. Like I get it. There's a lot of stuff here in terms of smaller tournaments for like face-to-face and all that stuff. A lot of great organizers up here. I would love to see a MagicCon up here. That is my personal bias. They host a wide array of ways to play and celebrate Magic, with panels featuring special guests, appearances, artists, and all that stuff. So here's a great video for it. Again, take a look at that. I'm not going to be watching that in this video. Our premier play schedule for the year will also wrap up in early December 2025 with the World Championship 31. We'll announce the exact dates and location of this event in the future. This will be a closed event for participants and won't be open to the public. And formats for 2025 Pro Tours and Magic World Championship will be shared at a later date. So notably, they haven't listed the tournaments for this. One thing I would love to see, honestly, on top of this, the one thing that would actually make up for this in my mind is if you made one of these Pauper. Look, I'm putting it out there. Gavin, you watch some of this content. Maybe not mine, but like you read the posts online and everything. You're part of the Pauper format panel. If one of these Pro Tours were Pauper, I'm telling you, this format will blow up. Pauper, yo, that might get me to travel. Not gonna lie. Pauper, Las Vegas, MagicCon Las Vegas. Pauper is the grand format. Come on. That's some choices right there. So Chicago, Las Vegas, and Worlds. We're excited to continue to delight fans with MagicCons and premier play events, as well as share how we plan to celebrate these. So again, kind of very short news here, just announcing the fact that very US centric here, a little spread out. I would love to see one of these be Pauper. I understand there's issues around these being Legacy and stuff. Legacy and Pauper both have a very big scene that's kind of homegrown out in Europe. I would love to see some of that translate in the US. I think a lot of people have this elitist take on the Pauper format and they're kind of stuck in their ways about it. It'd be nice to kind of see that. The next piece I want to talk about is kind of playing RCQs, earn Secret Lair promos, and qualify for Pro Tour 3 in 2025. The current regional championship qualifier RCQ round is testing players and their modern or limited skills as it starts them on their path to the Pro Tour at MagicCon Las Vegas 2025. However, starting in mid-November, the qualifier rounds for the Pro Tour at MagicCon Atlanta will kick off and test players' ability to navigate the post Foundations Standard. And I imagine that's going to be a big thing that they want to do. You're going to see in a second that they're pushing 2 seasons of Standard RCQ, especially with it being like less of a rotating format. Again, Foundations is a key set that has a bunch of cards in it that won't be rotating out at least until 2029, I believe it was. I'm forgetting the kind of exact news on it, but it essentially turns like Standard into this format that you can almost play long term. Like a lot of people had that fundamental concern of buying a deck and having it rotate out, but if you buy a lot of the base powerful cards, you might be able to just include those, upgrade some key pieces out of sets that come out, but you have like a base. Like you're always kind of that green player, that ramp player because you buy the Elvish Mystics. You're kind of maybe a control mid-range player because you buy like the Wrath of God, and or you're a tokens player, go wide because you buy the anthems, like all that stuff. So it's kind of changing the way we think about Standard. I might be taking a look at it, but again, more important that they're going to be pushing Standards, starting Foundations. Playing in RCQ is a fun way of making new friends and catching up with old ones on your path to the regional championships. And if you rise above, you get to the Pro Tour. Of course, winning that you're going to get some secret layers. We're going to get to those. So the third round of RCQs, they'll begin on November 16th and will run until March 22nd, 2025. WPN stores as well as destination event organizers will be running these. There'll be, RCQs run during this round can be scheduled by participating WPN stores as standard constructed or limited. Larger events that are designated as destination qualifiers, they'll kind of be run at larger venues and stuff. What are some of the Secret Lair promos? Well, November 16th to March 22nd, the Secret Lair promo is Mayhem Devil, notably Pioneer staple. I don't see Mayhem Devil being played a lot in Modern. I don't believe. I mean, we could solve this pretty easily here. If we go to, let's go to Pioneer meta. Let's just do that real quick here. Let's just go to Goldfish, and then we could probably look at Rakdos mid-range, maybe not Prowess, maybe Mayhem Devil. Like, what happened to Mayhem Devil? You know what? Let's just back up into here. Mayhem Devil. Okay, so search. So we're gonna go to user, and then we're gonna go to Pioneer. Okay, Mayhem Devil. Okay, Jun Sack. All right, all over Pioneer. All right, I was just looking at the wrong list. Jun Sack. All right, what about Modern? Let's widen the search. Let's go to August. September to in August. Okay, not really a Modern card, right? A Pioneer card. Let's just double confirm here. Let's go to Standard. Yeah, not Standard legal. Not in Standard. Okay. It's a Pioneer staple for the RCQ season. Right now that's in Modern. It's going to end in closer to December. That's when they're doing the next ban and restriction announcement. Okay. Why then? We're getting also notably Force of Despair. Modern staple Force of Despair. By the way, I'm telling you, I'm going to get to my point here. Force of Despair. Okay, let's look at Modern. Okay, The Rock. Mono black coffers. Maybe. I mean, look, a bunch of decks in August. We had the ban and restricted. Not any in September. Okay, sweet art, I'll say that. But, I'll tell you what. The art is 10 out of 10. Very weird chases on the cards, though. Modern staple Force of Despair. I love that joke. And Pioneer staple Mayhem Devil. Reckon with in competitive scenes. Competitive scenes. No, ain't nobody playing this right now. Regional championships, Atlanta Pro Tour and everything. Okay. So we got some of that. What I really want to focus on is formats for the 2025-2026 RCQ rounds. We're also going to step further today and announcing the RCQ formats for the 3 rounds that will comprise 2025-2026 Modern Standard. Okay. First of all. Okay. Let me just hammer this point home here. Okay. So Force of Despair. Okay. And then Mayhem Devil. Okay. Pioneer legal. Mayhem Devil, by the way. Promos for the RCQ season coming up. No Pioneer RCQs. Promos Mayhem Devil. Okay. To be fair though, that is the upcoming season. That's gonna be Q2 2025, right? This is for the Modern side of things. Fair. I'm just saying. The promos now for Modern, the Modern RCQ is a Pioneer staple. and a modern card that's not really playable at all. Not really played at all. And you know, what are you supposed to do with this after? Because there's no Pioneer RCQ. You know, even as like, I'm not a Pioneer player myself, right? Like, I'm not a Pioneer player, but it does kind of suck to see the fact that we just had a Pioneer RCQ season. We're in Modern right now. We're not going to see any coming up, especially because they want to push Foundations. It is interesting that they got Modern off the top. I think a lot of Pioneer haters are like, oh, you know, Modern should be the one rotating. Come on, get out of here. Modern's going to stick. Okay, Modern's going to stick. All y'all Pioneer Zoomers and your lack of fetch lands can do something else. I'm going to be elitist about Modern. The double standard is what's kind of like confusing here. Again, they're pushing Foundations by the look of it. But like, they're putting aside Pioneer. I mean, like, isn't the long-term plan to turn Explorer into Pioneer on Arena? So eventually you're going to have a whole ton of Pioneer players on the Arena client, which is where you're primarily playing Standard in the more recent formats. Why wouldn't you have a Pioneer RCQ season for people to digitally test their Pioneer cards and then also play here? But you have Standard. I mean, I guess a lot more people are going to be playing Standard, but is this really the plan? I don't know. A lot of questions here. So those are the two big things that I wanted to push out. You know, I'm going to link to both of these articles down below. Just want to highlight, you know, lack of events outside of North America. You know, a lot of people do have a culture of traveling in the US, which isn't the same for other people. Like, it's all about access. I understand there are logistics and cost to all this stuff, especially you see in the wider gaming ecosystem, a lot of layoffs and especially in esports, a lot of funding coming out of that. I get it, but you tell me you can't do one of these in Europe, one of these in Canada, one of these heck in South America or in Japan. You can't. I don't know. I feel like spreading out the love is kind of what's key here, and especially with the RCQ seasons coming up. Pioneer promos in the Modern RCQ and no Pioneer, considering that your biggest digital client is about to push Pioneer very soon through the Explorer format. You're just trying to push Foundations that's turning Standard into a potentially non-rotating format. I got criticisms, just saying. Just saying.